We are taught that nature is a flawless architect. We are told that every claw, every wing, and every instinct is a razor-sharp instrument honed by millions of years of brutal, unforgiving competition. The law of the jungle is absolute efficiency, where the weak are erased and only the masterfully designed survive. But then the ocean opens up, and you meet the Mola. Looking at a sunfish is like looking at a biological typo. It is a massive floating wall of flabby meat, sporting two vacant, unblinking eyes that stare into the void with complete and utter oblivion. It has no tail to swim with, a brain smaller than a walnut, and a body so mechanically broken that it looks like evolution simply lost interest halfway through its creation. By every metric of modern biology, this creature should not exist. It is a sitting duck, a slow-moving parasite-ridden jelly donut drifting through a sea of razor-sharp teeth. Yet, it does not just survive, it thrives. It populates every ocean on Earth. This is the ultimate cosmic joke of natural selection, a cognitive twist that forces us to ask a terrifying question. What if everything we understand about survival, competence, and success is fundamentally wrong? The body, the anatomy of a living glitch. To understand the absurdity of the Mola, we must first look at the sheer mechanical failure of its existence. Most fish are masterpieces of hydrodynamics. They are torpedoes of muscle, cutting through the water with effortless grace. The sunfish, however, has abandoned the very concept of a tail. Instead, its body terminates abruptly in a fleshy, useless rudder called a clavus. To move forward, it must flap its top and bottom fins in a bizarre, frantic, wobbling motion, looking less like it is swimming and more like it is desperately trying to fly underwater. Standard physics suggests this creature should be slow. Yet, in short bursts, it can mysteriously match the speed of a salmon. It possesses no swim bladder, the vital organ that allows other fish to control their buoyancy. Instead, it relies on a thick, gelatinous layer of flesh that is 90% water. It is a creature made of the worst possible parts, a mobile, floating island of mid-grade meat supported by a ribless, cartilage-filled skeleton. This lack of structural defense makes the sunfish a literal playground for death. It is an active swimming ecosystem, infested with over 50 different species of parasites. Worms burrow through its muscles, crustaceans anchor into its skin, and prehistoric protozoans consume its organs from the inside out. The infestation is so severe that the parasites living on the sunfish actually have their own smaller parasites living on them. It is a nested doll of biological decay. To cope with this agonizing existence, the sunfish performs its most famous and most dangerous ritual. It rises to the surface of the ocean and flips onto its side, floating flat like a giant pancake. Scientists call this sunbathing. The sunfish uses the heat of the sun to recharge its core temperature after freezing dives into the deep ocean. But more importantly, it is an invitation. By exposing its massive flank to the sky, it begs passing seabirds like albatrosses to land on its body and tear the parasites from its flesh. Smaller fish gather beneath it to feast on the bottom half. This adaptation is brilliant, but it comes with a fatal catch. While floating cold and sluggish at the surface, the sunfish is entirely blind to the world above. It cannot react, it cannot dodge, and it cannot escape. As a result, hundreds of them are pulverized every year by the hulls of unsuspecting cargo boats, killed by the very strategy meant to keep them alive. When predators do notice the adult sunfish, they face a different kind of confusion. Orcas, sharks, and sea lions will occasionally attack them, but these encounters often end in sheer disappointment. The sunfish is so utterly devoid of nutritional value, so packed with tough, rubbery, mucus-covered skin and fluid-filled cartilage, that predators frequently take one bite, realize they are eating a glorified sponge of parasites, and swim away in disgust. Sea lions have been observed tearing off a sunfish's fins, using its helpless circular body as an underwater frisbee for amusement, and then leaving the living carcass to sink to the bottom for scavengers. The sunfish endures all of this with the same vacant, unbothered stare. It cannot feel despair because its mind runs on a primitive, unupdatable system. It is a car-sized animal operating on a walnut-sized intellect, the strategy, the cognitive twist of our selection. How does an animal this stupid, this slow, and this helpless avoid extinction? The answer lies in a mathematical concept known in evolutionary biology as R-selection. In the grand theater of life, there are two primary ways to ensure your genes survive. The first is K-selection, a strategy practiced by humans, elephants, and whales. You produce very few offspring, but you invest immense energy, time, and protection into ensuring each individual reaches maturity. It is a strategy of quality. The Mola has looked at this strategy and completely inverted it. It practices R-selection on a scale that defies imagination. A single female sunfish can carry up to 300 million eggs in her ovaries at one time, more than any other vertebrate animal on the planet. When it is time to mate, she releases this astronomical cloud of genetic material into the open ocean. The reality that follows is a horrific meat grinder. 99.999% of these eggs will never see adulthood. Millions are instantly eaten by passing plankton eaters, millions more starve, and millions fail to hatch. The microscopic larvae that do emerge are tiny, star-shaped, rice grain-sized weirdos drifting helplessly in the currents. They are swallowed by predators by the bucketful. But here is where the mathematics of nature turns terrifying. When you release 300 million lottery tickets into the universe, the odds guarantee that a few will win, and the ones that win undergo the most explosive transformation in the animal kingdom. To survive the gauntlet of the ocean, a sunfish larva must grow at a speed that borders on science fiction. From the moment it hatches to the moment it reaches adulthood, the sunfish increases its body weight by an astonishing 60 million times. To put that into perspective, imagine a human baby being born at 7 pounds, and then growing until it weighs as much as an entire nuclear-powered aircraft carrier. That is the sheer volume of mass the sunfish generates out of nowhere. To fuel this impossible growth, the sunfish had to make a pact with the devil. It needed a food source that was infinitely abundant, required zero intelligence to hunt, and had absolutely no competition. It found that food source in the form of jellyfish. Jellyfish are the ghosts of the ocean. They are 95% water, possess no brains, and offer almost zero caloric value. Because they are so profoundly non-nutritious, major oceanic predators ignore them. It is simply not worth the energy to hunt them. This is the exact loophole the sunfish exploited. The dumbest predator found the most pathetic prey. Because the sunfish lacks a swim bladder, it can dive thousands of feet into the freezing, pitch-black depths of the ocean and surface rapidly without its organs exploding. This gives it a massive, unrestricted grazing range. It travels dozens of miles a day, acting as a giant underwater lawnmower. It sneaks up on vast swarms of jellyfish, using its fused parrot-like beak to slurp them down. Because Sura has so few calories, the sunfish must eat thousands of them a day. It sucks them into its mouth and passes them through a terrifying second set of teeth located deep inside its throat. These claw-like pharyngeal teeth act as a slow-motion wood chipper, shredding the slippery jellies before they can escape. The sunfish is in essence the cow of the ocean. It does not think, it does not fight, and it does not strategize. It simply floats through a specialized monopoly market of suffering, eating what no one else wants, and reproducing in numbers that math cannot erase. The cognitive twist, the illusion of competence. This is where the shadow psychology of nature reveals its darkest truth. We live in a human society obsessed with optimization. We are told to maximize our productivity, to sharpen our competitive edge, to become faster, smarter, and more aggressive. We view vulnerability as a death sentence and incompetence as a sin, but the Mola stands as a towering 3-ton monument of protest against this ideology. The sunfish proves that nature does not care about your beauty, your grace, or your intelligence. Nature only cares about efficiency within a specific context. The sunfish did not survive by winning the arms race of the ocean. It survived by opting out of the race entirely. It found a niche so undesirable, so profoundly mid-tier, that it built an empire on the scraps of the world. It is a genius design disguised as an idiot. It thrives precisely because it is bad at everything else. By relinquishing the need for a complex brain, a heavy skeleton, or expensive muscle tissue, it freed up all of its evolutionary currency for 2 things: rapid growth and infinite reproduction. It weaponized its own worthlessness. It became so unappealing to eat and so impossible to deplete that the ocean simply had to accept its presence. The next time you feel overwhelmed by the pressure to be perfect, the pressure to outrun every competitor, or the pressure to have everything figured out, remember the Mola. You do not need to be the fastest, the smartest, or the most fiercely equipped person in the room to survive. Sometimes the ultimate strategic victory is not about winning the game everyone else is playing. It is about finding a space so uniquely yours, a niche so overlooked, that competition becomes entirely irrelevant. It is about outgrowing your environment, not outfighting it. If a giant brainless jelly donut can conquer the world's most dangerous oceans just by being stubbornly, beautifully useless, then perhaps there is hope for the rest of us. Look closely at your own life. Are you wasting your energy fighting sharks in a bloody red ocean, or are you ready to find your own jellyfish? Tell me in the comments below, is the sunfish a masterpiece of evolutionary genius, or is it truly just a biological fluke that got lucky? Let us debate in the dark corners of the comment section. And if you want to uncover more uncomfortable truths hidden within the fabric of science and psychology, hit that subscribe button. Stay curious, stay strange, and remember to look beneath the surface.